Join me as I read The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Soldier for you while you relax, while you work, while you're driving, while you're just chilling, right? So go ahead, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this with some friends. Leave it in the comments if you would like for me to download the next chapter. Chapter 10 of The Coldest Winter Ever. The House of Success was a group home for teenage girls aged 13 to 18. Don't ask me how or why they picked that name. As far as I was concerned, it was a joke like everything else. This building was set up like a house. Somehow, somebody thought they would take a whole bunch of anonymous females, put them in a building set up like a house, and have them pretend they were like family. There were two kitchens and one big living room that doubled as a recreation room. There were offices where the people in charge did whatever they were pretending to do. Across from the offices were a set of small rooms that some counselors and personnel slept in when they did the overnight shift. This was minimum security where a girl had to follow certain rules and would somehow be rewarded with little freedoms, as Mrs. Griswoldy put it. For the next 30 days, you would be evaluated. If you are not deemed to be violent or suffering from a learning disorder or illness, you would be treated like a young adult with adult responsibilities. So the deal was I had to be on lockup, meaning I couldn't leave or come and go as I pleased. I had to stay within the facility for 30 days while they decided if I was ready for the world. I wasn't scared. Santiago raised me to be strong. I'll admit, I had all those messed up scenes in my head from the movies, like some squad of butch women dragging me out of my bed, effing me up in the bathroom, and shoving a broomstick up my hoo-ha. But I would fight anybody I had to before I would let them get me down. They had to kill me before I let some chicks eat me out or make me lick theirs. All that ish was dead. Yes, wasn't like the movies. In the room I was assigned to, I met all kinds. First, there was this girl from Haiti. The only thing I could say about her was that she was the greediest, or greasiest, oh Lord. She was the greasiest person I ever saw. So, she had a dogged out, uneven jerry curl with all the grease activator and gel that comes along with it. She had the jerry curl grease colliding with the Vaseline on her face. She had greasy lotions for her hands and feet and in general always looked wet. Her name was Claudette. There was no worse nightmare than the clothes she wore. It looked like she picked a year from the past, let's say 1975, and decided all of her clothes would be from that time. To make it worse, she said just F the color scheme. I'll wear a purple shirt with green gauchos, with a yellow hat with a big pink flower on it, and I top it off with some wooden platform open-toe shoes so I can show off my big maroon bunion. Hold on, that sounds like an outfit I would wear, except the bunion. Needless to say, Claudette mostly stayed to herself. The only time I saw her chilling with the other girls in the house was when they chipped in and bought her a cheap Walkman for her birthday. She was ridiculously happy. They claimed the only reason they bought it was because Claudette played some old messed up Christian radio station with gospel music and a loud, wacky, screaming preacher on the AM dial. They didn't like hearing it no more, and they got her a radio with the headphones. Lachey was a trip. She was kind of chubby with a big, cute face. She was one of those girls who decided she didn't care if her body was a size 16. She was still going to wear size 11 clothing. She had big hips, a big booty, and a waist that was small compared to the rest of her butt. You couldn't tell her she was fat, though. The way she figured it, if the hips are 48 inches and the waist is 36 and the titties 40, that's a perfect hourglass shape. She wore horta tops when it obviously should have been a crime. She wore Daisy Duke shorts and shoes with laid to the side heels that were begging for forgiveness with each step she took. Her thing was the boys, who, if you let her tell it, were all in love with her. She had damn near every issue of Word Up magazine with all her favorite pictures of rap stars glued to the wall in a raggedy collage. She was a show-off type. It was more like she was a comedian to me, 'cause how you gonna show off and bust the shoes you bought from some Indian at a candy stand in the train station? Rashida, was into her own world. She was pretty, but it didn't count. She never made it work for her. She wore her hair back in a ponytail all the time, every day. She had no flavor about cuts, wraps, twists, nothing, no style. She had a cute little figure, but kept it covered up like she was on punishment or something. Then she had the nerve to, in this day and time, wear dingy, no-name kicks on her feet. You know, the ones they sell in the supermarket for $4. She didn't decorate her side of the room at all. If you looked over there, it was just plain, period. She was so extra clean and tidy, all she did was read. She didn't even watch television unless it was the gloomy news. Noni was the girl whose bed I got. She was transferred to another room. The girl said Noni smoked cigarettes like a smokestack, even though there was no smoking allowed. She had taken a roll of string, made a line in the curtain around her bed out of the sheet. It didn't matter, they said, because the smoke kept stinking up the room anyway. They said she had a nervous problem. She was molested by her stepdad, beaten by her mother. Smoking made her feel good, and she would kick anybody's butt who tried to take her cigarettes to report her. They said the counselors who did the overnight just let her keep smoking because it was easier to be Noni's friend than her enemy. As a consequence, other girls just followed her lead and lit up too. When one girl in the room turned 18, she was released and had to go and make it on her own. When her bed got free, they put Noni in there because there were 3 more smokers in that room. I got her bed and ended up with Claudette, Lachey, and Rashida. My first week was crazy. They took me into the office for an interview with my newly assigned social worker. Her name was Kathy Johnston. Soon as I got in the room, I peeped her. She had her hair pulled back into a neat sweep. Her perm needed a serious touch-up. I could see that she tried hard to lay the naps down with some gel that was turning white and flaking. She did her own nails, but believe me, she was the type who was too lazy to take off the old layer of polish. So she just piled on a new layer on top, and it didn't lay smooth on her nails. On her feet were some pleather knockoffs, the kind that when you flipped them over, had a stamp on the bottom that read, man-made uppers. Her pantsuit was JCPenney's or Sears, definitely polyester or rayon. "Come on in, Winter, have a seat," she said, like I needed her help. She pushed a manila file and flipped through some papers. I checked her left hand. No engagement ring, no wedding ring, nothing. On the wall, she had some kind of degree from Fordham University. "Winter, where did you go to school?" she asked. "I used to go to Half Hollow High on Long Island." "Then what happened?" she said. I sucked my teeth. "What's the sense of having all these papers in a folder about me if you're going to ask me what you already know?" "Okay, Winter, did you drop out? Did you re-register at another school after Long Island? And how did you plan on finishing your education? These are the types of things I need to find out from you." I gave her answers, short ones. No sense in getting all involved when she was a walking, talking example of what education amounted to. What was I supposed to do? Struggle to be like her? Pay some big school, big money, so I can get a little job in some little place making itty bitty bit of cash? What do I get? To hang up a stupid ass degree in my little office where I didn't make enough dough to get a regular manicure, pedicure, or perm? I should be interviewing her, asking her what's her problem. She asked me about my sisters, who, for the most part, I had put out of my mind. She asked me about my mother and father and every other nosy thing she could nose around in, at which time I gave her any answer that popped out of my head. She asked me if I could read and write. I told her, of course I can, and I can talk too. After 2 hours, I was leaving her office. I asked, "How do I get money in here?" And she explained it. I got $60 a week. The institution got $800 per month per child. The $60 a week represented my spending money after the institution paid its expenses. "What expenses?" I asked. "We take care of everything else you need, Winter. We purchase food, clothes, shelter, etc. You mean to tell me you bought these clothes all them girls is wearing?" "No, not exactly. There's a voucher system. Your social worker," that's me, she said proudly, "will accompany you once every 2-3 months to get what you need." "You're going to help me shop," I repeated and laughed. Miss Johnson said, "You know, if you don't follow the rules in here, you forfeit all your privileges. That includes nights out, weekend passes, and your weekly stipend." "Stipend?" I asked. "Your money, you know. Winter, you're one of the older girls around here. Most of the 18 and 17-year-old girls get after-school jobs. You're not going to be here long. I suggest you focus on making specific plans for your future. I'm here to help you in any way I can. After a box lunch, I saw the institutional psychiatrist. She was a nut. She asked me all kind of questions about my mother and father. Did my father touch me? Did I ever want to have sex with him? Did my mother ever beat me? No matter how many times I answered no, she would just put the question another way and still kept asking me the same stuff. She asked me the dumb things like, how did I feel when they took my sisters away? She might as well ask me, is a burning building hot? She asked me about my relationship with my friends and men. I looked at her like, lady, do you really think me and your old ass gonna sit here and have a girl talk? To entertain myself, I started making things up. I break out in a rash when I'm in a room with more than 2 people. I'm a virgin, and I would like to be like that until I'm 30. I masturbate to the sound of the washing machine. I was cracking myself up. She was sitting there with a long yellow pad actually trying to come up with an explanation for all the gobbledygook I was giving her. More tests, reading and math. They found out anything. It's that I could read, write, and count. As Santiago would say, everything else is just extra unnecessary. I met with the birth control lady who really wanted to get me into things that was personal. I wouldn't tell her nothing, but I did take a sample of foam sponges and those free condoms, even though there was no men in the house. I figured when they loosen up on me, I could have them just in case. Night, most of the girls were gone. They got evening passes, which allowed you to leave until 11 p.m. Some had jobs to go to, which allowed you to have free time. If you came in after 11 and missed the curfew, you forfeited your passes for the rest of the week. If you were late 3 times in 30 days, you permanently lost your evening opportunities. I was stuck inside with the girls that were on punishment, the newcomers who had been evaluated like me, and the uniformed ladies who guarded the door, registering girls in and out. Laying on the bed, I put together a list of things that I needed. Top of my list was a lock. I needed to lock up my suitcase before somebody pulled one of Aunt B's capers and tried to lift some of my clothes. I had already decided if anybody put their hands on my stuff, we go head up. After I got my list together, I sat and thought, the challenge for me now would be making something out of nothing. How to make money when I had no money to start with. Then I was hit by a brilliant idea. I jumped up from my cot and walked to the bedroom across the hall. Nani, let me borrow $1. I need to make a couple of calls. When am I going to get it back? Friday. All right, I'll lend you $1 one time. If Friday comes and I don't see my dollar, your credit is dead. Don't ask me for nothing no more. Cool, I responded. Got 4 quarters and waited on this chick Ginger to get off the phone. Simone, what's up, girl? I got a deal for you. You got any money? Yeah, I got a little something. Heard you was in some trouble. Nah, I ain't in no trouble. At least nothing I can't handle. Listen, I got a list of stuff I need you to pick up for me. It will run you about $200. Simone laughed. It ain't gonna cost me nothing. All the better, I said. I read the list, told her to pack everything in a box. I'll call you Friday morning. You'll meet my girl, get a box to her. I'll pay you for the stuff on Sunday night. I figured there were 40 girls in here, including me. Every one of us had $60 a week at least. Some had jobs. That meant altogether the girls in the House of Success took a minimum of $2,400 per week. There was no way I was going to be standing around in some polyester McDonald's suit saying, may I help you, sir? Would you like a Coke with your fries? I would set up shop in here, provide everybody with what they needed. I would even help them to understand what they needed. I was locked in for 3 more weeks. That was 3 Fridays, which meant at best there was a maximum intake of 7,200. All I need is 5,000 for myself. When I got my evening privileges, I'd invest my money into the streets, triple it at least, and get my own place, loot and life. I might as well have Simone for a partner because she understood business and wasn't a gossip like Natalie. She was going to have a baby soon and would need my help as well. We'd get paid together. I spent every day up until Friday getting to know the girls in the house. It wasn't hard. Every day I would just get up, do my hair in different fly styles, and rock my clothes like I was going out on a real special date. Only thing was I wasn't going anywhere and everybody knew it. The girls watched me and asked me how I did my hair like that in a certain style, how I manicured my own hands, pedicured my own toes, and where I got my clothes and shoes from. I gave them the answers. After a while, they started asking questions about me. Who am I? My background. Eventually, they started telling me about their lives. They liked my stories better, though, because theirs was mostly hard luck stories. I told them about the big birthday party Santiago gave me on my 5th birthday. It was in a balloon at a local hotel. Santiago filled the room up with 500 balloons, 100 for every year I had been alive, and all the little girls from the block came. I got my first party dress, the kind you wouldn't want to be caught dead in when you were 13, but delighted when you were 5. I had Gucci patent leather loafers and white lace stockings. We took family photos together, and Santiago gave me a charm bracelet with a 24-karat gold elephant. Every year until I was 12, he gave me a new gold animal. When I turned 13, I turned the charm bracelet into a necklace. I didn't wear it because by that time I had better stuff, but I treasured it. Of course, they asked where all my stuff was. I lied and told them in stores till my parents worked out their situation. I found out which girls had jobs and which didn't, who had extra money, and what kind of taste they had. All the while I was talking, my mind was organizing what kind of stuff I could sell, what type of services I could perform, what type of prices I could charge, and how much I could expect to accumulate over the first couple of weeks. Friday, when Lachey was leaving on the weekend, passed. I told her to meet Simone in the local pizza shop to pick up the box she was delivering to me. First thing I did was pull out my lock and chain from my suitcase that I had been guarding with my life since my arrival. I put all of my new stuff inside and locked it and chained it up. I organized the magazines I had asked for on my desk, and I officially opened up shop. My first customer, the person I volunteered to be my best customer, was Claudette. I figured if I could fix her up, make her pay for it, she'd be a good example of what my work was worth. I also found out that Claudette never spent her money. She was 17 years old, worked on weekdays, and sent $150 a month to that wacky preacher she listened to. She stashed the rest. Claudette, you got a boyfriend? No, she said shyly. Oh, I guess you can't have a boyfriend because you're a Christian. No, I can have a boyfriend. There are just some things we can do, some things we can't. So what happens? I asked her. You meet a nice guy and he finds out you aren't going to give him none, so he breaks out? No, we don't even get that far. I like a guy, he doesn't like me. That's it. I know what you need. What do I need, Winter? I'm sure that you know. You seem to know so much. If I show you what you need and give you what you need, it's going to cost you. Oh, no, she said. I don't want to spend any money. But after I hook you up, you will meet any man you want to meet. Your whole life will change. You give money to your preacher, right? Oh, yes, this is different. But he doesn't do anything for you. You don't know that. He makes me feel good, better every day. But I can make you feel better than he can. And once I show you, you can do it for yourself. All right, let's make a deal. I'll fix you up. If you like what you see, you pay me. If you don't owe me nothing. I handed her a stack of magazines, told her to flip through and tell me who she wanted to look like. I talked Claudette's ear off, got her hyped up on some change. When I had her settling in the chair, ready for a new cut, I could have cried with laughter. The only thing I knew about cutting hair was what a good haircut was supposed to look like when it was done. And whatever I had peeped from Erlene. What made me calm, though, was that there was no way for me to F up Claudette's hair any more than it already was. So I started cutting until she was dang near bald. The way I figured, she needed to start all over again. I gave her finger waves. If I say so myself, it looked fly. I gave her a facial, unclogged all the Vaseline and that cheap $1 drugstore makeup she wore. I busted out my nail kit, gave her tips of French manicure and a pedicure. I made her take off that red skirt and tube socks and sandals, and I told her that because I liked her, I would let her take a quick look in my suitcase. I unlocked and unchained it carefully to make sure she fully understood that she was about to enjoy a special privilege. From now on, I told her she could order her clothes from me. Let's just take it slow, I told her. She selected one of my designer dresses. When she glanced in the mirror, I saw the French manicure finger waves, natural face with quality MAC lipstick, and the Donna Karan dress. She smiled at herself, turned to the left side and right side and front and back. From what I could tell, she was stuck in a state of shock. Now try these on, I said. I took my shoes out the shoebox. I kept them packed in. They were one size too small for her, but she got the concept. Now, Claudette, I said, holding her face between my hands, making her look me dead in the eyes. I have to take my dress and shoes back, but look at yourself now and know that you can look like this if you let me help you. Your life will change. How much? Claudette asked. For the face, hair, nails, and feet? Yeah, and a dress. Oh, you can't afford this dress. It's mine. But I can show you something just as nice. I'll show you my catalog later tonight. You pick and pay, and we'll be in business. How do you know I can't afford the dress? Claudette asked with a funny accent. Even if you could, which I doubt, you can't have it. It's a designer exclusive. I lied just to gas her up. They only made a few of these, but you can get something almost as nice. Let me work on finding the right thing for you. I charged her $60. She paid me. I watched as she got an extra switch in her walk. For another 60, I convinced her to buy a pair of my jeans and a blouse. Shoot, I got from Banana Republic. I talked to her about toning down her colors. All in all, I made a permanent customer. That was week 2 in the House of Success. And I already had $120 plus my $60 stipend. Once Claudette spread the word, not through talking because she was kind of shy, but just by being different from the fresh off the boat girl she used to be, I was going to take in the dough or rake in the dough. Things took off quickly. I had what everybody needed at a better price than they could get it themselves. Everybody was happy. I organized all the fashions from the magazines into a catalog, put numbers on the items and the whole gamut. I let people in the house order their clothes from me. I let Simone boost them and sell them to me for a small price. I resold them to the girls at less than half of what the store would charge. Lachey was my unsuspecting runner, which put money in her pocket. She got to meet Simone, pick up the stuff, deliver it to me, and drop off whenever I wanted. I had a cut rate cartons of cigarettes for Noni, wholesale candy for Lachey, clothes, hairdos, fingernails, pedicures, and fashion tips for whoever needed it. I had beer and joints at the right time and on the down low. Depending on what was going on with Simone, I had things as big as cellular phones and CD players available. At the end of 21 days, I had $2,500 in my pocket, and I had never left my room. Kathy Johnson, my social worker, recommended I finish school. I disagreed and told her to make arrangements for me to drop out. To keep things cool, I agreed to take my GED exam so I can get that bullcrap equivalency. I even agreed to look for a job, which I wasn't really going to do. The other girls in the house put me up on the scam. All I had to do was fill out a form weekly saying I look for a job and where I look for the job. I could get a real company name and address from the one ads, complete the form, turn it in, and qualify as having looked for work. Work that, as far as I was concerned, I would never find because I already had a more profitable hustle going. Miss Johnson threatened to sign me up for all kinds of technical and business schools, like I would want to be some kind of refrigerator repairman or some crazy crap like that. The psychiatrist recommended me to attend weekly psychiatric sessions, labeled me as some kind of sociopath or something like that because I told her all these kooky stories that she was educated enough, or shall I say dumb enough to believe. She recommended that once I got my privileges, I should go visit my little sisters and that the whole family go to counseling. But I had a better plan. I believe you see people when you have something to say and something to offer. And I was still working on it. What was a sense of seeing my sisters when I couldn't do nothing for them? They start talking about they want to come with me. What would I do with them? Move them from one shelter to another shelter for teenage girls? People always seem to have stupid suggestions. On my first free day, I hooked up with Simone. We had talked regularly on the phone, but only about business because time was limited. There was only one phone on my floor and everyone wanted to use it. No sense in hogging up the phone and pissing off my customers. Simone seemed real happy to actually see me. We met at a pizza spot. She updated me on Brooklyn and Natalie and Will were still together. And said Natalie and Will were still together. Natalie hated me and had told all my personal business to everyone. My mom's had sunk an all-time low. She'd been wearing a full body catsuit You know, the tight $2 leggings with the bodysuit attached with no panties underneath. Her head was still bald, face still twisted, body still on crack. Of course, Simone didn't word it that way, but let's cut through the bull crap. I'm smart. Word on the street was Santiago ain't never getting out. Aunt B was screwing for money. My whole family had individual hustles going on, and in general, crap was tight. On the side, Simone added that she had fixed up the room in her apartment for the baby. She had a new crib, blankets, toys, the works. Everything was pink. I told her it was dumb because what if the baby was a boy? She had a sonogram, she said, and sure it was a girl, so everything was in perfect order. She said she was 7 months pregnant now and getting tired all the time. She wanted me to know that she had put some money aside for the baby and she would need to slow down for the 8th and 9th month. Now I was no dummy, so I caught the signal. My plans had to kick in as soon as possible. She was going to slow down. That would affect the chain of cash flow we had going. Let's face it, she was a booster. I wasn't. She had the know-how and the connect. I didn't. To tell the truth, I wasn't even interested in being a booster as long as I could make what Simone was already doing work for me. Simone, I want to make an investment. What kind of investment? Crack. That ain't my area, Winter. You know that. You know I have a weed connect, but it's out in Brooklyn. Back around the way. Nah, I missed that. I need a closer connect up here. Weed is cool, but crack is better money. Once them base heads get going, they're completely loyal customers. I need to at least triple my money so I can make moves. I got a guy I could talk to, a cousin uptown. He's real tight. With his ish though, he might not even have a conversation with me. He be acting like he don't be doing what he doing when everybody know what he be doing. Winner, I don't know about getting into that. When you get caught, you do time, hard time. She hesitated, lowered her eyes. Look what happened to your father. Right, I thought. That's who I should be talking to, my father. And no matter what Simone said, my father got at least 20 years of good high living out the business. Nobody can argue with that. That's power, to be able to set up your own empire in your neighborhood or even somebody else's neighborhood for that matter, to buy cars, jeeps, trucks, to sport the flyest ish made by the top designers every day, to be able to buy property, mansions, and still have apartments on the side, to be able to crap on people before they get a chance to crap on you. That's power. Who could argue with that? A regular Negro worked all week for change, to get to work, plus a beer to forget about how hard he worked. My pops was a major player for a long time. With the benefit of his knowledge, I could make the world kiss my butt, but better than he did, because he could now teach me about the mistakes. Let's compare it. 10 years of good living and 20 years of high living versus 60 years of scraping to get by. Enough said. I told Simone, listen, work on that connect for me. Trying to set me up a meeting. Here's a list of what I need for the house. Let's meet here Friday at 9. I'll pick it up. What about Lachey? Simone said. Who? I responded. My mind drifted to Santiago. Oh, I don't need her anymore. I can get my evening passes now. I can be out till 11 p.m. So, what she's going to do? Whatever she was doing before I got there. I gave Simone a hug and broke out. On the bus ride to the jail, I organized a clever way to key Santiago into what I was saying without exposing my hand to guards or phone surveillance. As Santiago had taught me, hold your cards close to your chest. Also, I wouldn't bring up the Dulce issue because that might cause him or even me to get mad. And then I might end up leaving the jail without the information I needed. I would say, yes, I saw Portia, Mercedes, and Lexi. How are they doing? Fine. Getting big, growing up, and going to school. What could I say about Mama? Well, it was unusual. But I didn't have an answer up until the time I arrived at Rikers, went through checks and searches and the whole process. I still had no answer. Up until the time for me to sign the book, I sat nervously biting my lip about Mama, a woman who, despite everything I know, Daddy loves so much. The guard said, have a seat. I preferred to stand. Somehow I thought I could think better standing up. So I went to the corner of the room, paced back and forth, back and forth. When the guard returned, said, sorry, Miss Santiago, Ricky Santiago does not want to see anyone today. What? Did you tell him it was me? Did you tell him it was his daughter, Winter Santiago? Winter Santiago? Yes, I did. I gave him the same name you gave me. What do you mean he doesn't want to see me? What did he say? How did he say it? He didn't say anything. I told him you were here. He shook his head no. He doesn't have to come out. A prisoner has a right to refuse a visit. Tears welled up and splashed out my eyes. The guard said, listen, if you write down your name and address on a piece of paper, I can give it to him. Maybe he'll write. As I jotted down my name, address, and phone number, I put on the bottom of the ripped piece of paper, Daddy, please call me right away. I need you badly, Winter. At the House of Success, everyone asked me what's wrong. I looked at their faces and thought to myself, you're not in my damn family. Don't try to act like you are. I shut them out and didn't respond. I went to my bed, took off my shoes, and balled up under the cover, in my clothes, and slept. I slept through the rest of the afternoon, evening, and night. I slept through the next morning, the next afternoon, and the next evening again. Girls came and went. Can I buy a stogie? Do you have any more perm cream? What time can I get my hair done? Where did you put the catalog? My response was nothing. On the third bedridden morning, Miss Johnson, the social worker, came. If there's a problem with her, we can go talk about it. We can work it out. I just stared at her face, then rolled over and balled up again. By noontime, the psychiatrist came and insisted that I needed a session. Pent-up aggression wouldn't solve anything, she said. I better eat some food or at least drink some water. I said nothing. By 1 o'clock, security came, poked me with a nightstick, and said I had to get dressed and go to the psychiatric office immediately. The rock-faced lady man with the big arms made it clear that if I didn't move my ass, she would move me. I got up and went through the motions of preparing to go. Rashida was seated on her bed. She watched me with tears in her eyes. As the guard waited outside the door, Rashida came to me and said, all right, Winter, you don't have to say anything. I can understand it, but whatever happened to you, I've been there before. It's a real bad place to be, but I've been there. It almost makes you wonder if being dead isn't better. But let me just say this. Once I took a bottle of pills because I wanted to die. I figured I'd die. No more pain, right? Wrong, she said, answering herself. I ended up on the operating table with the doctors pumping my stomach. A lot of pain. When I got better, there was still pain. So I tried it again. I slashed my wrist with a knife. I figured, sure way to die, right? And when I died, no more pain, right? Wrong. When I woke up, I was in a hospital room with tubes everywhere and stitches in my wrist. When the anesthesia wore off, there was pain for weeks later. I still had a cast, painkillers, and pain. Soon the pills wore off and there was more pain. Even when I got better, there was pain. Pain's a part of life. That's my point. Pain is a part of life. When it's your time to go, you go. If it's not your time, you won't go. Until then, make the best of it. If you find God, the good, in yourself, you can take most of the pain away. And then a few times you get the pain, you can just surrender to Allah and the pain will go away. I couldn't connect to what she was saying. The security yelled and said, come on, Santiago, the doctor is waiting. I got up. Rashida said, listen, tonight I'm going to see Sister Soldier speak. She's a real beautiful sister who's helped me to understand myself a little more and get it together. If you want to come, I'll take you my treat. Your treat, it costs money? The hell you giving her your money for? My face was vexed and Rashida was intimidated by my sudden change and instant anger. I could see if you were going to see a show, I went on. Then at least you'll get what you pay for. You're going to listen to somebody talk crap. Soldier gets paid. You get nothing, stupid ass. Rashida looked shocked at the dramatic change in my personality. I guess I am a stupid ass for trying to help you, Rashida exclaimed. As she left the room, probably just to get away from me, I shouted, do me a favor. Oh, now you need a favor. Ask Sister Soldier if she knows somebody named Midnight. My session with the psychiatrist revived me, not because of anything she did, because of what I did and said. The story I told her just made me laugh inside, and that helped to take away some of the depression I felt. I told her I had a best friend named Natalie, and ever since childhood, we've been connected. We were so connected that when she cried, I cried. When she was sick, I was sick. When she was happy, I was happy. Even when we were separated, I could still feel Natalie's emotions and she could feel mine. Natalie had made one of her other friends angry by telling some of her personal business. So her other friends beat Natalie unconscious. The reason I was stuck in bed for 3 days was because I was unconscious like Natalie. After the story, she asked me 1,000 questions, all of which I answered. I can't repeat my answers because I made them up as I went along and forgot them just the same. That day I decided I would think of everyone in my family as dead. This made everything easy. It would be me against the world. Simone would be important to me because she was my business connect. I had learned that there was no point of getting personal. It was just a waste of time. As Santiago would say, everybody knows time is money and money is time. Simone was on point as usual. She delivered my things. I gave her the loot. What's wrong with you, Winter? She asked, as though I was different. Nothing, just going over the numbers in my head. What's up with that connect? It's not going to happen. Forget it, Winter. He don't want to get mixed up with no trouble. He got vexed from me mentioning his business. I told him I could trust you, that you were in for self. But he said that was too hard to believe. Dang, I said, frustrated. Any other options? She asked. I got a couple of ideas in my head. Let me work on them. All right, Simone, what else is up? I'm debating whether to go to the show tomorrow night or not. I laughed at her. Your belly kind of out there, I said, looking at her belly. No, crazy. That's not it. I figure if I'm going to go to a show, I ought to be able to stay awake. This sleeping is getting out of control. Who's performing? Wu-Tang. Let's do it, I said. What you going to wear, she asked. Hey, Saks Fifth Avenue got this dusty pink suede dress with a matching jacket. Banging. Pick it up for me. I already got the shoes. I was trying to wait for you to get them. But there was only one pair left in my size, and I didn't want anybody else to buy them. If you can cop the dress and the jacket, I'll give you $350 for it. That's a little more than half of the price. You got it, Winter. Let's meet at your spot at about 9. How we rolling? Simone asked. Limo, like usual, I said with a half smile. All right, big timer, she agreed. When I got back home to the house, I apologized to everyone for bugging out in the past few days. I told her my mother got hospitalized and was very sick. Got me depressed because the doctor said she may not pull through. I saw her today and thank God she was going to be all right. They all accepted my apology. I gave them discounts on stuff they needed for the weekend. After the discount, we were all cool again. None of the girls would hold a grudge because they had their good days and bad days too. One by one, girls were leaving on the weekend pass. I hung around because Friday night was Monday night for me. If I had a good take, I would have a total of $2,800 saved. Rashida came in and threw shade on me. For business purposes, I immediately apologized to her. The truth of the matter is, Rashida was maybe one of the 2 girls in the house success who never bought anything from me. She didn't borrow money, she didn't ask for nothing. However, in business, I know if a bad feeling spreads out the saleswoman or in the product, it can affect others. So, I was being scientific about it. Rashida accepted my apology, but not in a way that made me believe things were cool between us. She was cautious. But I rallied her back to a good position, find out something she liked and provide it to her. On Saturday morning, I went out to the stores. There was really no need for me to shop anymore because Simone could get what I wanted. But nothing could replace the whole idea of the store along with the thrill of being there. I kept my finger on the fashion nerve by always being in and out of the top stores. This made Simone's job easy because I could tell her what I wanted, which door to lift it from, down to the exact section and sometimes the exact rack. I like to keep up with cosmetics, although I didn't need anything besides a little lipstick. My skin was smooth. My eyelashes were already dark and long. Some of the girls I told stuff to had uneven skin. Some had blotches. Some had straight up scars. Razor cuts they wanted to hide. My being up on the skin remedies, new cosmetic colors, styles, and exclusive stuff they could never have known existed meant they would have to keep coming back to me. I had packaged my advice, products, and styles like a secret potion that they could only purchase from me. While I was out, I saw a cute pink suede hat that I wanted. It would go perfect with the dress, jacket, and shoes. I was going to get Simone to pick it up for me. although I was tempted to buy it myself just in case. Sometimes Simone was slow to answer her beeps. You couldn't blame her because she was usually in the middle of picking something up. Later, I wandered into a pawn shop just to price what I could get for my diamond tennis bracelet, necklace, and earrings in an emergency. But perverts who made it clear they weren't above effing me in the back room of the shop. $400 was what they offered for a bracelet that cost my father a few thousand. The only good thing was if I got desperate and needed money, I could pick up the $400 and buy the jewels back later. I saw a fat nail design in this Chinese lady's shop, so I went in and got my hands redone. She was overcharging. When I asked her the price, she could tell from the look in my eyes she was about $50 over the normal nail design fee. But she was smart. I never seen the same nail design she was pushing anywhere, so I told myself, hey, she's a businesswoman, I'm a businesswoman. And Memphis gotta respect that. I got a fly design and easily calculated a way to pass this personal expense on to my loyal customers at the house. Well, that sums up chapter 10 of the coldest winter ever. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bells so you'll be notified the next time I upload. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.